Today I'm taking on one of the most iconic races in the US, the Falmouth Road Race. It's a tough 7-mile course with a decorated history and elite fields that are stacked with Olympians. It's exactly 8 weeks until the Chicago Marathon, and this is my mid-training block race. And bit of a spoiler, it didn't go to plan and left me seriously contemplating whether I'd be racing the Chicago Marathon at all. I don't feel positive about be in a good spot in 8 weeks to run that. We had some hard conversations after the race with some big decisions to make, and a little bit later on I'll talk about what this performance means for my next marathon. So you might want to follow along to see how this all pans out. We are on our way to Boston. Is that how they say it?
Boston.
Boston. It's like it's got a Y in there. Well, we're flying to Boston. Going back to Falmouth.
Woo!
Let's go. It's 6 a.m. Just filmed a reel in the airport. Time is money. Money is time. I can't click. Also can't whistle. I'm defective. Hi, my name's Phily, and this is my ride. Come hop in. Let's go.
Where are we at? What are we doing?
We're at Falmouth High School, going back to school. I realised I didn't get all of my math qualifications, so I've come back.
Math?
I know, we're just gonna do an easy run this morning, get some strides in, some 200s just to wake the legs up after the travel, and yeah, battle the wind apparently.
How long are you going for?
8 to 10 miles. We're in a marathon block, so kind of 2 days pre-race. Still have to get a decent amount in, but then I'll be able to do less tomorrow. I took a day off yesterday.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll recover. You got a lot more grey hairs than usual.
It's because this marathon block has been really stressful.
I hardly started.
I know. Have fun.
Thanks.
See you later.
I need to go to the toilet.
10 hours later.
I'm getting whispers of how I felt last year in Falmouth. I have not been very well today, mentally. I have been in such a shit place. I feel like I woke up and just was anxious from the minute I woke up. And I am not an inherently anxious person, so it's quite a strange feeling for me, especially when there's not one thing I can pinpoint or attribute that feeling to. This mindset that you're supposed to have, that you're meant to be so all in with everything, almost obsess over the little details and the little 1% and stuff. It's almost sometimes the desire and drive to get all of that stuff right just actually amounts to a ton of stress, and I kind of just want to catch myself and be it's not that deep, because I don't want to send myself into pit of despair and there's all these things that aren't going well, because you're zooming right in with a magnifying glass to all those little things, because it just doesn't help.
Nah.
Don't feel great. It's not even just oh, it would be nice to feel smooth. I can feel my glute, and it feels like my hip and down the back is feeling weak and loose, and is that related to the knee? I don't know. So difficult, because I've been given the go-ahead and everyone else is telling me I'm fine and that they're not worried, but your body doesn't feel good. It's not not super encouraging, but at the same time, if you wait until you felt perfect all the time, it's never gonna happen. Like, you have to go through teething problems with things, and sometimes you have to run through a certain amount. Obviously with guidance, it just doesn't feel great. Fill me with confidence in my body. Racing in the midst of a marathon block is really weird at the best of times. You're not tapered or anywhere near feeling fresh to race, and that's kind of the idea a lot of the time. Getting a hard effort in on tired legs, and it doesn't necessarily need to feel good, but so long as you go out there and give it your best, it's normally a pretty good sense check as to where you're at, accounting for the fatigue of the miles in the legs, and it's a good way to break up the training. I came into this year's Falmouth Road Race having not raced since the London Marathon 4 months ago. It was a pretty big unknown exactly how I'd feel, and those 4 months had been really up and down for me, with a lot happening in my personal life and some health stuff to deal with. But I was able to build some pretty good fitness back home in June and July, and I really wanted this race to be positive and confidence-inducing leading into Chicago in 8 weeks' time. My plan was to start off more conservative than I did last year, and to set myself up for a race of pulling people back in and building into that race effort. And that's a way that I know I can race really well. Unfortunately, after setting off at a pace that really should have felt conservative, there really wasn't much pulling people back in and moving through the field. The start felt fast, but okay, and then from about 3 miles in, I wanted to stop. I told myself if I just got to 4 miles, then I could. Then at 4 miles, I told myself I could stop when I got to 5 miles, and I spent the remainder of the race just convincing myself to run 1 more mile, and that's how I was able to finish the race. I felt flat, wildly out of my depth, and it wasn't fun. As you'll hear in a moment, I felt pretty demoralised and negative straight afterwards. That's fair. I'm not going to sugarcoat any of it. I think it's important to show you the reality of that in all of its vulnerable and ugly glory. Because what you're also going to hear after my immediate post-race thoughts is that how I feel now has changed drastically. And there's a really important message in that. For me, but also for anyone and everyone who has a bad day. Because whether we like it or not, it happens.
How's that?
Terrible. So bad. I went off trying to run within myself because I felt like if I went off with the pack, I was just gonna sprint 2 miles and then be done. But it felt like I was sprinting anyway, even though I was like, I don't know, at the back basically, and then probably from about 3.5, 4, I just wanted to stop, and I was like, okay, well you can stop at 5, and then I got to 5 and I was like, okay, you can stop at 6, and then it's about finishing it. But it's like, racing's meant to be fun. It's not meant to be like, all I want to do is finish this so that I don't have a DNF and then that monkey on my back for next time. So I don't know, there's part of me that just feels exhausted by the fact that the 2 races I've done this year, all I've wanted to do by the time I'm halfway through is finish.
Yeah.
Which is not what this is meant to be about. So I don't know, I felt not ready, I felt unfit, and then when your body doesn't feel good, it's really hard to stay positive. So my mind was just going to all of the negative places. So yeah, it's great, tick the box, finishing is an achievement, but I don't know, it feels kind of rubbish to be it's August, and for 8 months of racing, okay, I've only done 2 races, but I've been I finished, which is yeah. Talk to John about it, see what he thinks. I just felt really out of shape, and I just felt terrified.
We had pretty clearly characteristically bad runs, right? So we'll talk about it and figure out, what the right solutions are and stuff like that, and where we go from here. How was your back with that?
It was fine. I could feel it in the last couple of miles, but it wasn't. I'd love to be standing here saying oh, my knee was shit and my back was shit, and that was all I was thinking about, but it wasn't.
Okay. All right. All right then. Yeah, we'll just see how that feels though, especially over the next like 24, 48 hours. That'll be the big thing, right?
I don't feel positive about like being a good spot in 8 weeks to run that.
Okay. I'm happy to have that conversation. I'll say is right here and now is not place to talk about it, right? Both from a post-race standpoint and talking about everything. I'm open to discuss it. I'm not saying we're not going to talk about that, but we'll see. Okay. We don't have to make a decision right now. It's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to be annoyed, angry, mad, right? That's okay, right?
I'm now like just dreading like what this is going to mean for my confidence in the next few weeks. I just know what I'm like.
I understand that, but what I'm also saying is we'll see where things head, We'll make that decision in some time,
Yeah.
Okay?
We parked the post-race conversation where you just heard it, and I want to reiterate something that John said. Making any decision on a marathon that is 8 weeks away, right there in that moment, wasn't going to be helpful. We caught up later that day after having time to decompress and also analyse what had just happened. And after a long conversation, we both agreed that the last 3 weeks of arriving at altitude with COVID, recovering from that and getting 1 week back into semi-normal training, and then falling flat on my face on a trail run, took more out of me than we thought it would. My body has had a lot to work through with all of that. And on top of that, the training was pretty interrupted as a result. But I was really spiraling after the race and genuinely contemplating pulling out of Chicago with little confidence that I had enough time to turn this around. Reality is, the timing sucked and I wasn't ready to race. Basing where I'm at in my prep for Chicago off this snapshot and ignoring all the circumstances that played into it isn't fair. And from taking that step back and really looking at things more rationally, I know the fitness that I built before this 3 weeks of interruptions is still in there. It's just a week or two of consistent training away from showing itself. What I need to do now is focus on what I can do each day to get a little bit better and staying present in that day of training, that week of training, and not looking down the barrel of where am I going to be on the 12th of October. And remember that 8 weeks is a long time, so let's not count myself out before I'm done. My advice to you and to myself after a bad race is to give yourself the hour to feel all the feels. Be mad, frustrated, upset, unsure of what's next, and then park it and come back later. Don't make any decisions in the emotionally charged aftermath of that race, and come back with your rational head on your shoulders. And be fair to yourself. You can be critical. Me and Sean both agreed that was a bad race, but don't ignore the circumstances around you and focus on what you can do to move forward and what you can control, because the race result, it's not changing. I'm sorry that the entirety of this video wasn't more positive and feel good, but I feel like I have a responsibility to be honest and share with you my lowest lows as well as my highest highs, rather than just pretending it's only the good stuff. But that's just not true, unfortunately. But a few days back into training, I've got a good feeling that I will have some more positive videos to share with you soon as we prep for the Chicago Marathon. So don't go anywhere, okay? And love the grind, even on the bad days.